Namaskar, I am Biju Dharmapalan and you are watching Science Time, a show that brings you the latest developments from the world of science and technology. Let's first look at some of the exciting stories. Indian researchers identify the reason for hair follicle damage. Scientist finds the chocolaty secret to chocolate sweetness. Scientists discover first instance of Virovory. Now let us see the news in detail. Researchers at the Department of Zoology and Advanced Center for Regenerative Medicine and Stem Cell Research in Cutaneous Biology at University of Kerala have discovered cholesterol biosynthesis inhibition causes permanent hair follicle damage by activating fibrosis. According to Dr. P. Srijit, the lead researcher, hair follicles with overactive fibrogenic responses undergo tissue deterioration and disrupted homeostasis. Citratial alopecia is an inflammatory hair loss disorder where the hair follicle cells are permanently replaced by fibrotic tissue or scar tissue. Cholesterol is a crucial component in the formation and differentiation of hair follicles and the skin's overall health. The study of the results published in the Journal of Endocrinology and Reproduction suggests that cholesterogenic changes like precursor formation and inhibition in the hair follicle trigger inflammation and fibrogenic signaling and ultimately fibrosis in the late stage of citratial alopecia. The TGF-beta SMAT pathways related to the fibrogenic processes were significantly expressed during the experimental condition. The research also established the significance of the hormonal mechanisms of angiotensin II in hair follicle cells. This is the first report of the hormonal effects of angiotensin on the hair follicle. Let's move to the next story. Science has an answer to why chocolate feels so good to eat with a universal acceptance. A team of researchers in England analyzed the physical process that takes place when chocolate breaks down in the mouth. It was found that the breakdown of fat constituents in chocolate when it is put inside the mouth is the reason why it feels so good to eat. The researchers at the University of Leeds said that their findings would result in the development of luxury chocolate with a similar feel and texture. They explained that when chocolate comes in contact with the tongue, it releases a fatty film which coats the tongue and the rest of the mouth, making an individual feel the smoothness the whole time when it is in the mouth. The study also found that chocolate's signature sweetness comes from the way the chocolate is lubricated, either from ingredients of the chocolate itself, saliva, or a combination of the two. With the understanding of the physical mechanisms that happen as people eat chocolate, the researchers believe that the next generation of chocolate can be developed that offers the feel. Now let's move to the next story. Our ecosystems are made up of herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, all tangled up in a convoluted and intricate web that somehow works. But if you think the food web amongst macroorganisms like plants and animals are complicated, wait until you hear about the foraging patterns in the microbial world. While smaller organisms like algae and bacteria have always been on the menu, scientists have wondered if any species have evolved to eat viruses as well. In a recent study published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, finds that single-celled organisms called Halteria may be munching on viruses like a Pac-Man eats pellets in the video game, and could possibly change the way scientists think about global carbon cycling. The virus in question belonged to the genus chlorovirus and are found in essentially every body of fresh water, but mostly in inland waters such as lakes and ponds. Chloroviruses infect algae, stuffing the algae full of viruses until they explode. This explosion releases carbon and other nutrients into the environment that would have otherwise been eaten by the algae's predators. Instead, these nutrients are made available to other microorganisms. The researchers collected pond water and isolated different microbes before adding in large amounts of chlorovirus. No other food sources were added to the sample. Then the team tracked the population sizes of the viruses and other organisms to see whether the latter was eating the former. In what must have surely been an eureka moment for the team, they found that one particular microbe, a ciliate known as Halteria, seemed to be snacking on the viruses. Halteria populations grew by roughly 15 times in just 2 days, even in the absence of other foods, while the chlorovirus levels dropped 100-fold. In controlled samples without the virus, Halteria didn't grow at all. Follow-up test involved tagging the chlorovirus DNA with fluorescent dye, and this led to the Halteria cells glowing, confirming that Halteria was indeed consuming the virus. This experiment has proved how the newly coined term Virovory can now take its place among herbivory, carnivory, etc., with Halteria crowned the first non-virovore. Future research will entail further investigating the phenomena and its effects on food webs and larger systems like the carbon cycle. Let's move to Science Quest segment. The question for this week's Science Quest is, can you make a functioning candle from your earwax? The answer is no. Earwax is made in the outer ear canal. This is the area between the fleshy part of the ear on the outside of your head, that is the part you see, and the middle ear. The skin in the outer ear canal has special glands that produce earwax. The fancy name for this waxy stuff is cerumen. Earwax or cerumen is not really a wax. It is mostly dead skin with some long chain fatty acids and cholesterol and other compounds binding it. After the wax is made, it slowly makes its way through the outer ear canal to the opening of the ear. Then it either falls out or is removed when you wash. In most people, the outer ear canal makes earwax all the time, so the canal always has enough wax in it. Normal candles burn from the top as the wax melts in the heat from the flame is drawn by the capillary action up the wick, vaporizes and burns. Earwax can't do this because keratin in the skin cells won't melt. Instead of a flame at the tip of the wick that burns down it, there would be a flame spreading across the surface until the whole candle was alight. With this, we come to the end of this edition of Science Time. Keep sending your feedback and suggestions through email. Our email ID is indiascience@vigyanprasad.gov.in. We will be back with more exciting stories from the world of science next week. Stay tuned to India Science.